Welcome back, Troglodytes, to the Trogly's Guitar Show. That was my entry for Rudy's GF Guitars Riff Contest. I wanted to enter myself to encourage others to try their hand at it as well. If you're not familiar with Rudy's work, his channel is full of guitar memes as well as skillful playing that blew up about 6 months ago when he won Samurai Guitarist's Unfinished Song Contest. Rudy's version is sponsored by GF Guitars, so you have the chance to win this one. All you have to do is write a 16-second riff over the provided drum track that can be found in the description of the announcement video, and then upload it to YouTube with the title RGF Guitar Contest. The beauty behind a riff contest versus the original solo competition idea is that it does not take a crazy amount of guitar skills to write a killer riff. In fact, some of the most memorable riffs ever written are easy to play, but just sound fantastic. I took a Paul Gilbert approach to writing mine. As soon as I heard that drum track, I heard something in my head. So I just kind of mapped that out on guitar, and lo and behold, that riff was actually above my current skill level, and it took me a good 2 days to get this down. But the end result was kind of cool. It was like a blend between Psychosocial from Slipknot and Whitesnake's Still of the Night. I just love looking at all the different entries on YouTube and admiring how each person can create something so unique based on the same drum track. So please, enter the contest, leave your links in the comment section below, because I want to see them too. Good luck. But on to today's topic, the SGJ, the fakest looking real Gibson ever. During my unboxing, I called this thing fake, and then I immediately told you guys that it wasn't fake. But I kept getting tons of comments that, oh my goodness, is it fake? Is it fake? Are you gonna sell it as a fake? No, this is real. Don't take it too far, guys. But the reason why I say this is the fakest looking real Gibson is look at this ridiculously large Gibson logo. If I saw this at like a pawn shop for cheap money, even I would contact myself and say, hey, this shop is clearly selling a fake guitar. But no, this is like the cheapest model that Gibson has ever made. During the blowout prices, you could pick these things up brand new for about $450. Now, when they were first introduced, I think they were somewhere around like $700 or $800. But essentially what we have here is a bare bones rocker. It has a very thin satin nitro finish. It was made in the USA. This one's been modified a little bit. We wouldn't have originally had a pick guard. We would have originally had Gibson pickups, not Seymour Duncans. But it wasn't supposed to be a pretty guitar. It was just supposed to do a job. So the original pickups sources are kind of conflicting. Even on old Sweetwater listings, they list them as 490R, 498T, but also in the same listing, they call it the 490R, 490T. So I'm really not sure what actually came in this guitar. But whatever it was, they had black covers. And they also had black 50 styled Les Paul custom knobs instead of these reflectors. They were offered in the chocolate brown finish, which is this one, a white, cherry, and then what looks like a darker cherry hue. But then in 2014 they revamped these, apparently made them even cheaper, but they got the anniversary inlay at the 12th fret. They switched the pickups to zebra coil 61s. A crown silkscreen was added to the headstock, and they also introduced a fireburst finish, which I personally think made them look a little bit more higher end. Now, being a bottom of the barrel guitar, I mean, we're talking Firebird Zero price points. Are these things any good? Surprisingly, I had a great time with this guitar. Remember, I used this to participate in a contest, and I have like 30 or 40 different guitars to choose from, and this is the one that inspired me the most to pick it up and play something metal-like. So it's not always the most expensive guitars that are the best. There's nothing really quality-wise that I'll say was bad. It's just the finish that kept it cheap. And I think the whole addition of a pickguard made it feel more higher end than it originally would have. These are mahogany bodies. This particular one is a 3-piece. A maple neck. That's kind of where they differ. I like it when Gibson does maple necks. And we have a rosewood fretboard. So let's go ahead, throw this one on the workbench, and take a look at its parts. Alright, inside the SGJ. The pickups are Seymour Duncan Invaders. That's what the SH8N and the SH8B stands for, neck and bridge. But here's something interesting. It's marked HV, and there's a smiley face in here. I have no idea what that stands for, because this finish was called chocolate. So yeah, leave your guess in the comments section. And obviously SGJ for the model, SGJ. The original pickups for these would have ohmed out between like 7.5 to 8, but the bridge pickup for this one is at 15.61, and our neck pickup doesn't appear to give a reading. It's probably just due to how this is wired, because the middle is also reading about the same as the bridge pickup. So we'll have to take a look into the wiring to see what's going on there, but I can attest it does work, so who knows. The bridge is your standard 2-pneumatic Nashville style one, nothing too much going on here. The branding on these can kind of be hard to see, so if you don't have a PW on these sides like we have been seeing, you'll find API right there. That can hide pretty well. And the tailpiece, it just has advanced plating on the back, and it is full weight. Now keep in mind, this is kind of how the guitar would have looked from the factory. They did not come shipped with pick guards. But I could see somebody buying this guitar, being worried about the logo, then taking the pick guard off and then finding, made in Japan. This is just an aftermarket pick guard, no worries there. I think it actually kind of completes the look of this guitar. These plastic knobs have also been replaced. This one appears to have a 3-piece mahogany body. We have a beautiful chocolatey rosewood fretboard on top of a maple neck. I see very minimal fret wear on this one, so you really don't have anything to worry about. I'm surprised they didn't go black hardware stock on these, but they did do the black nut, and you have black tuner tips. You can see this one has like a small chip or dent out of the nut, but it's nothing that affects it. Truss rod looks good, functions just fine. And the only thing on the face of the headstock for the 2013 one is the Gibson logo in a hilariously large format. The nut width is 1.67 inches, and by the 12th fret, 2.05. First fret neck depth, 0.83 inches. It gets pretty chunky at the 12th, 0.97. And as per usual, the 24 3/4 inch scale. Oh goodness guys, this gave me a good chuckle. So this utilizes the Gibson PCB system, right? Apparently, these just work like normal pots, and you can solder normal pickups on here too. That explains why the whole ohm meter thing was not working out right, because sometimes these PCBs, they don't give readings right. So you can see these are 4-conductor pickups. They're just wired onto the pots like normal. So if you wanted to, you could just snip those off and put regular pickups in here because it's a quick connect system. But besides that, there's not too much going on the back. Again, it's a thin satin finish, so most of it has just kind of naturally worn off this maple neck. It's got a really nice feel to it. You've got kind of a scuff here. It's not a crack or anything. And your original black-tipped Gibson Clusen Deluxe tuners here, as well as your traditional serial number and Made in USA stamp. The strap buttons when I got this guitar were black Dunlops. But the screw was not long enough, and instead of just taking a screw and fixing it, I just decided to completely replace them. I mean, here you can see how tiny that screw was. It was just going to fall out any minute. This bottom strap button has impressed into the guitar a little bit, but it does fit and function perfectly fine. This example weighs 6 pounds, 2.6 ounces. Now that we know what makes this guitar up, let's go ahead and hear how it sounds. Now that we know how this instrument sounds, let's go ahead and review its condition. This guitar, it's not in good shape. That's the easiest way to put it. It's been a workhorse for someone, and that's exactly what it should have been. So, face of the headstock, I've cleaned this up pretty good. It was filthy when I first got it. The strings were all rusty, but I've polished the frets up, cleaned the fretboard, and wiped this guitar off pretty darn good. The truss rod cover might be replaced. The other option is somebody just wipe the SGJ off of it, which is possible to do, but you do have a blank truss rod cover here. You've got some scratches along the face of the headstock, but nothing too bad there. The frets show very minor wear, hardly any at all, nothing that you're going to need to worry about anytime soon. Now, being a satin finish, as you play it, it will get buffed into kind of a more glossy finish, as you're starting to see here. And you've got quite a few light nicks and dings and scratches. I would say your worst nicks and dings are right here. It almost looks like somebody tried to mount something to the guitar. But if you ever want an SG just to mod up, this would be a great one. The pickguard, once again, that has been added. These usually wouldn't have had that. And underneath it, you can see somebody's pinky really rub the finish into a nice gloss finish. Back of the headstock, we can see our original Kluson Deluxe tuners with black tips. There is a small little chip out of the headstock right here. It's not too bad, but it is there. Your serial number is 1291-21634 with a Made in USA 2013 model stamp. You do have like a white scuff right here. At one point in time, this must have been sitting on a stand. You can see that it has the stand rash along the edges of the headstock. That's likely what caused this white scuff too. It's not a crack, break, or repair though. But this guitar, it truly does inspire you to play. There's a reason why the finish has been worn off this neck. That's not like a burst finish job, it's just the finish has been worn through in multiple locations. So you could go ahead and just finish sanding the finish off, but honestly I think it feels pretty good as is. But obviously in your worn area, it's not quite as slippery. But the rest of the finish is definitely glossed over. The back of the guitar, it's got scratches. I mean, they're not super deep, but they're deep enough that we need to disclose them. And again, the electronics, they're a PCB board, but somebody wired the pickups on them regularly. The sides of the instrument also show heavy finish wear, and you've got some scratches and indentations. This is just one you can, take to your gig and just not worry about. You can trash this thing, even if it breaks in half, who cares? You just buy another one. That's just how nice and inexpensive these things are. I'm really happy I tried this out. I would actually suggest these to other people. Blacklight test, it doesn't glow too much, so it probably hasn't been in the sun a lot, but you can kind of see where the finish is glossed over, as well as some of the finish wear areas. So what's interesting here is that the neck, it actually glows more in the areas that it's been rubbed through. So some sweat has probably absorbed into the finish in those areas. So this is kind of an interesting blacklight test. I would have expected it to glow more, but it's definitely the original finish. And here you can see the face of the headstock. If you are interested in this guitar, it's got a Roadrunner gig bag. These originally had Gibson gig bags. Who knows what happened to it. It's got some wear and tear, but this listing, it's mainly meant for local sale because shipping a guitar like this, it's just not cost effective. But I will still put a reverb ad out there if you are interested in this guitar. Thank you, Troglodytes, for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Participate in Rudy's giveaway contest, and we will see you tomorrow on the next episode. Take care.